that's what happens sometimes when you're running late, which means you're not actually on time. But on time is quite an illusion, because flow state's something you're just either going to have or you're not going to have. Why are we pretending that we can make an appointment to be a verb? Can you make an appointment to be a verb? Don't be fooling yourself now. Don't be doing it, don't be doing it, don't be doing it, don't be doing it. How y'all doing now? Now I gotta open the chat again, because I gotta see what you guys are saying. But I gotta do it in such a way where you guys can't hear the background music. Where you guys can't hear what's going on there. See, it's already happened. See it already there. There it is. 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 Yeah. Hello, friends, says Chase. I didn't say no squirrel, Shannon. I said there were no nuts. Now, come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Best apocalypse ever. Caprice. Those are no truer words. Prometheus Peanut, I've got some possible bad news for you coming up later today. It's not like sad news. It's just kind of bored in the face kind of news coming your way there, Prometheus Peanut. Hey guys, how's it going? Happy 9/11. Yeah, you heard me. You heard me. Happy 9/11. It's the 19th 9/11. Right on. Thank you. OKC. Thank you, buddy. Good to have you, man. Thanks for being my Chewbacca in all this. I much appreciate you. I do, man. It's cool. I'm liking this tribe. This tribe thing we got going on is happening. It's going so well that there are people leaving comments about, hey, I'm watching a cult forum, and I'm just like, yes, you are. You are. Culture. Cult. What is cult? There are soft cults. There are hard cults. We've been over this. Maybe you guys haven't actually heard this. It's been a while since we've talked about cults, but we're not going to talk about that today. Actually, we are that. We are a cult of apertures, is what we are. And the reason why we have found an eddy amongst each other is because we bring authenticity to each other. Our thoughts, our reflections, our memes, not memes, are harmonizing with each other because we feel the truth in each other. We recognize it. And because truth can come in sound and light and vibration and smell and chemistry and resonance and frequency and energy, it is very easy for us to think we found the truth and only realize we only have the sight, the smell, the touch, and the taste of it. We don't have the sense. And that you could argue that you and me crawled into Jojo Earth, this bio-virtual realm, this biological realm, this womb of ether, this placenta of ether. And we crawled in here because there was one more sense that we hadn't yet discerned. And that was discernment. Yeah. We hadn't yet learned to discern truth from our passions, from our ability to lie to ourselves, right? Remember this? And that we are here not to make ourselves true. No, we're here to learn how to adjust our discernment to the reality that we see. And it is the 19th anniversary episode of 9/11. I heard myself drinking on microphone. I realized it's kind of creepy. I'll see if I can work on that. Also, I've been working on the hot mic issues. We'll see coming up and trying to do some blending. This microchip that I put in, bad idea. Bad idea. Keep me up at night telling me NASA's real. It's if I can remember this idea, on March 31st, if some of you are still my friend, please remind me to do an April Fool's Day on NASA. I'd love to do a whole episode where I just try and convince you guys that NASA is real. I think it'd be freaking hilarious. Also, I think it'd be a good experiment. Seriously, a really good experiment to see how I could force propaganda out of my space by us using these tools of aperture that we've gained to kind of really narrow in. You know what I'm saying? So, 9/11, anniversary 9/11. this guy. Let's do a quick review. There's this thing called aperture, and this thing called aperture allows you to see different levels of truth based on your current, let's say, oscillation, your vibration. The way that you're vibrating right now is actually determined to what you would perceive and feel as true. Why? Because truth is a resonance. It's a resonance. And if you're vibrating in a certain way and something else resonates with the way you're vibrating, it's going to feel true. It's going to feel true. And that makes sense to you. It makes sense to me. And sometimes we're misguided. Sometimes we think something's true. Sometimes we want to believe something's true. And sometimes we find out the truth is simply too painful. Most of us don't know this. Most of us think that if the truth is too painful, it's still there, we can still see it. And if you've been following my work, you've realized that I've been saying, no, that's actually not how it works at all. That there is a principle built into the body, the dopamine, the melanin systems, inside your Plato's cave, your retinal cave, that's dictating what it is you can and cannot see, what it is you're allowed to render on your cave wall, on your Plato's cave wall, on the screen. And I've been pushing this idea because I've noticed that when I have this idea, when I see the world through this lens, these lenses, suddenly I'm unlocking this giant vault of compassion. This life force of new energy springs from me, and it all develops down to understanding that different people's comfort is different people's truth. And instead of me judging for them, instead of them saying, your comfort should be mine, instead of yelling at flowers to open, because that's what we're doing, the entire political ring, the entire arena, the entire truth movement itself is an episode in yelling at flowers, saying you're not open as much, or sometimes you're open too far. You're open too far, they say to some people. And that we've turned this place into an army of flower yellers. And fuck, that doesn't seem to make the flowers open. What makes a flower open is the anticipation of bees. The anticipation of someone that would come to collect the pollen. And you and I make pollen. We make very specialized salt. It's secreted from our eyes when we cry. It's secreted from our backs when we sweat. It's secreted from our taint when we make love. And this salt is a living computer that holds information. That information could be passion, it could be hate, it could be disdain, it could be regret, it could be heartache, it could be despair, it could be generations of epigenetic failure, it could be a champion overcoming a lifetime of his father abandoning him. This salt that we secrete is the product of our verb. It's who we are. And we spend so much time shaming or hoping that it'll be the special Himalayan pink salt or insisting that it doesn't smell bad, insisting that it's civilized. Iodized salt is civilized salt. Himalayan salt is savage. It's loincloth salt. And we are attracted to each other's secretions. We are attracted to them. The secretions that we want are the secretions we get. And we use the neocortex to justify everything else. Everything we just did, everything we're about to do is all based on our secretion. It is. Magnetism. Animal magnetism. I was called to do this. I was called to this person. I had to see you. And we live in a world, we do, the Babylon etheric world, this thing that we pretend is ours, which is not, the internet, has taken the one thing that truly guides you, the one piece of who you truly are, smell, and removed it from the equation. And they've given you all the sights, all the sounds, but they've taken away the smell. And that changes the entire matrix, because you can start to think that you are your sail and not your keel. That you are your mast, but not your rudder. And there's nothing wrong with that. But where you'll go is into transhumanism. You're entering into etheric humanism. And this is a living rapture. It's a rapture. No one's going to be forced into this. People will dive in. They will make reservations. You will watch a fanboy wait 4 days, pee in a mellow yellow bottle. And then his friend Jason, who's also wanting an iPhone, he will drink from that mellow yellow bottle. And it'll be fun. They'll have a trauma bond. It'll be great. And they'll sleep in the concrete on that tent for 4 days to get that iPhone, to get whatever it is. Babylon. And if you think that's bad, you're gonna have kids applying into virtual worlds, virtual communities, etheric virtual communities, virtual worlds. And the exact same system that you see now, college now, will be the hive later, the etheric hive. And we can bitch, we can complain, we can get mad at this. We can. There's nothing wrong with that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Or we can truly look at the opponent. We can truly bow to the largest prey you've ever seen. And by bowing to it, we start to understand why it works so well on us. Because now we have respect for it. We don't demonize Babylon. We bow to it. Shut your whore mouth, Babylon. You guys see the nipples there? See, it's an adult video. This is going to be demonetized too. That's fine. That's fine. I got patrons. That's fine. As we start to understand this aperture system, we can relook at things that have happened to us. And we can see them through new eyes. And I'd like to demonstrate that process to you right now. I'd like to show you how that works on something that was so dilating that even right now today, you came expecting to hear something about 9/11. And so I thought that we would break down your 19th nervous breakdown. We would break it down. And I say that because before there is fear, there is nerve. And when you feel nervous, you do not feel afraid. You were not afraid when you were nervous. You were nervous. You were full of energy. You have electricity. 5D electricity is there. All your senses, 7D. I don't know what to call it. I've been calling it 5D. It's invisible electricity. It's more than just electricity in the wall. It's conscious. It's conscious electricity. Okay? Just wait. It's conscious electricity. And this electricity is directly perceived through your aperture. What can your amygdala let you see? What will she render for you inside your cave? Keep in mind, your eyes are not seeing the world. Your crystal ship, your pineal gland, is seeing the world, and it is sending those signals down into your eyes through your optic canal and broadcasting that information into Plato's cave. Understand that's how the world is coming to you The world is a 0 point in your mind. And then it broadcasts out. In fact, this toroidal field that we all feel that we have, this coat of many colors, all of us are Joseph. All of us have this auroric borealis, this auroric coat of many colors. You are the fountainhead of that. And this is why, as you understand, as you move your assemblage point from your eyes back into your center, into your king's chamber, you are going to start to be able to render the energy that you see. Some people can do this. They'll say, I do see auras sometimes, James. And I'm like, there you go. People can already see this. And it's not, the reason why you can't see it is because you're not rendering it. You think that it needs to be out there in the world. You think it needs to be out there. But when you pick up someone's auric field, you're empathically rendering how they feel. That's why real magic is about understanding things. Do you understand? The reason why magic works is because magic is literally the understanding of something. In fact, someone views something as magic as technology that I do not understand yet. So on the other side of magic, that means magic is truly to understand something. I can predict, I can simulate, I can see right through someone's will, and I can say, hey, did you know that this is in your field? And they're like, holy shit, how'd you see that? And I saw that because of the empathy, because of the aperture that's required for me to have empathy for you. I have to adjust my aperture down. You do this every day. You do this with your boss, you do this with your coworkers, you do this with your wife, you do this with your kids. You try and adjust if you're a good person, you try and adjust that aperture as much as possible and see that person and see how it is they see, what it is they see, what's going on. And an entirely different energy, overcomes you. You start to vibrate and manifest this different kind of energy. And the very, very, very first energy before 9/11, before it even started, was the white belt. It was the sheep. And the white belt has an aperture of 9/11 of mission accomplished. The white belt is the sheep that feels fine. They're doing okay. The white belt feels that the problem was darky, right? That the problem was these shadowy figures. And that they've been caught. Why have they been caught? Because we have mug shots of each one. So as soon as 9/11 hit, you've got an instant trough, guys, for white belts. It's a trough. And I need you to understand, you don't lead someone. You don't lead a flock of sheep. You don't. You lay out a trough and you see which ones they gather at. You lay out different foods. So it's not that these elite people that you're afraid of are leading you. It's that they are laying out the appetite that we have at the time. That's the only control they have, is your appetite. It's the only way they can control you. They can't do anything else except for tap into the power of your appetite already. You hold that power. You have that energy. They tap into that by giving you what you want. Babylon gives you what you want. I will give it to you. I will give it to you, says Babylon. I will give it to you. I don't care if it's good for you, if it's bad for you. I don't care if it kills you. I don't care if it kills millions of others. I will give you what you want, says the whore. I just want you to keep seeing me, says the whore. Right? Shut your whore mouth, Babylon. Babylon doesn't have a gun. She's got a boa. She doesn't have a gun. And what she gives the white belt is comfort, is safety. It's okay. It's okay. Your leaders are here. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be the way it used to be. It's okay. And that encourages you to express yourself as a white belt if you wanted to, right? You have a golden opportunity now for white belts to come. There is a food court at the mall, and there is an a White Castle. There is a White Castle at the food court, and they're selling. They're doing well. They're doing so well that White Castle is going to renew their lease in that food court because sales are going fine. The appetite was already there. And the more we blame the White Castle, the more we keep ourselves in victimhood, which just takes away our power. Because that victimhood is our power literally pouring out of us like a hole in a bag of grain. And we're carrying it our whole lives, but we're leaking it the whole time because we can't notice that. Because we don't want to notice that because our appetite wants that White Castle. And everything's taken care of. We have stats on all of them. We know their names. We know their dates. We know everything about them. We know their nationalities, man. We know it all. And there's 19. And the white belt hears what happens. And the white belt feels comfort from mission accomplished. He did this for the white belts. If you were to look at any monarchy, you will know that that's what you have to do. That the king himself is literally the person who has the least amount of control over his time. Because every day is an opportunity for him to lose prana or gain prana from the worship of others. And the white belt worships the white trough. And now you can see why it would be immoral. Hear me out. Okay, if you're not gonna make it a green belt, don't hear me out. Actually, just go ahead and get pissed. But you now understand why it is a moral decision for a leader of men who want to be led, for him to supply them with a trough to gather. It's true. And some of them get really afraid. And they want more than white. The white corn doesn't do it. The White Castle is not enough. They are looking for mustard. They are looking for something that's tart and swift. And they start to get really afraid of things. They start to get afraid of things like predictions. They start to hear things like, this is biblical. They start to believe in Armageddon. They start to react to fear porn. And they do that not because they're fed it, it's because they have an appetite for that vibration. And they're at yellow belt now. They're no longer sheep. They're no longer sheep, and that's great. We should praise them. Look at that bell. There's a bell right there. There's a bell right there. And you start to realize what politics truly is when you're yellow belt. But only one side, sadly, because most of the time when you're yellow belt, you're only going to be afraid of blue. You're not going to be afraid of red. So actually, this shouldn't even be in yellow belt. This is probably more of a green belt. But just 12 hours ago, Trump says the Democrats never even mentioned the words law and order at their national convention. That's where they're coming from. If I don't win, America's suburbs will be overrun with low-income projects, anarchists, agitators, looters, and of course, friendly protesters in quotes. And we believe our soothsayers are actually making predictions, and they're not. They're just flat out threatening you. They're threatening you. That's a threat. That's not a prediction. Trump isn't going, I predict this might happen if you... No. He's saying, look, You guys, we're going to drown you. They're going to set you on fire. We can't let them set you on fire. We can't. And when you're in yellow belt, you fall for this. When you're in yellow belt, I can hear you, says Bush. The rest of the world can hear you. And the people who knock down these buildings down, will hear all of us soon. And we eat that. The yellow belts eat that. The white belts eat it too. Terrorism, right? And both of those are true, guys. Both of those are true. You don't know it yet. Right now you think, well, yeah, James, everything in yellow belt's true. That's all. And everything in white belt's false. And you haven't gotten to green belt yet. The mission accomplished is fucking true. It is. It's true, but you need to understand. You need to understand what America is. You need to understand what this place is. You need to understand what Ben Franklin told you was going down. This is big. It is. It is. It's so big that we can't just get there in 3 steps. We can't. We have to have hermetic, alchemical staircases that allow our apertures to slowly lead us to. It's amazing. When you truly start to look at this, it's freaking amazing how all this takes place. And then we get into red belt. And you have people like me who looked at the life of David Rockefeller and told you Satan is a title, not a creature. And Rockefeller was competing for the throne. He wanted to thrust a dagger straight in history's eye socket and cackle as it bled in the vision of 2 vibrating towers singing the song of 2,996 humans burning inside. And that is red belt, motherfuckers. That is red belt. Because you look at his war on medicine, you look at everything this family's done, every generation. The very, very first one, Devil Bill, raping his housemate when John Rockefeller's 1 year old. Con man, snake oil salesman. John Rockefeller, handpicked by the hidden hand, 3,000% increase on the price of oil right after he's given the sole contract. Beginning the Civil War. 5 years before, all these troops were mustering in North to take over the South, and this family's their guy. It's their instrument. It's the instrument. A vacated human. And then you start to look around, you see shit like this, you're like, what is that? Is that a cruise missile that's painted like a plane? And it's like, yeah, it is. I don't even know this is real. When I was red belt, this shit sure pissed me off. And we hear dancing Israelis. This is red belt, right? Got to get those guys. And we should. Hey, I'm not saying we should. But let's review. Shout out to Candor for this. In the 70s, U.S. funded and armed resistance fighters that became Al-Qaeda. In the 80s, U.S. gave Saddam arms, money, and chemical bioweapons. In the 90s, CIA trained bin Laden to wage an anti-communist holy war. And in 2015, the U.S. airdropped 50 tons of weapons to ISIS. And that's red belt. And you would not have gotten to red belt if you wouldn't have been scared. You wouldn't have done it if you wouldn't have had this feeling first, right? If you wouldn't have been just distraught by it all. If you weren't feeling this, you could not have made it this far up to this. It wouldn't have happened. You needed that. You need that. You need that. You need that. And when you're there, you could spend the rest of your life there. You'll be, because red's cool, man. Red's awesome. There's like black karate outfit, red belt, white karate outfit, red belt. In fact, in a lot of karate, right, I think red belt's the highest. Sidebar, I've never taken karate. I don't do karate. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm an expert at karate. Just using it as a perfect analogy to explain aperture. And we get to green belt. Boom. And we start to realize, well, wait a minute. How the fuck does a plane fit in that hole? Why did they find a perfectly fine passport? Why was there an engine from another plane? Not the plane that hit. Why was there an engine from another plane found melted in a watch shop? We'll get to this in just a sec. And when you're ready for greenbelt, you're starting to look at motives in a different way. You're seeing the Trump 9/11 commercial, CERTA. We've gone over this a lot. You're seeing the obvious clues where the media is physically telling you about the false alarm. You're seeing it. You're seeing it. Wait a minute. This is a cruise missile crater. If no way, that's a plane. That's insane. Doesn't look that way. In fact, if you look up the JSON cruise missile crater, impact crater, it looks like two of these. It looks like this was two missiles. And you start to look at the Pentagon, and you're like, why would the most sophisticated military in the world not have a camera? And more importantly, why would it only do that? How could you even get a plane to land at that angle and still have telephone poles, light poles up, right? And then you read things like James True, who's like, hey guys, this is the JAASM. It's a Air Force funded cruise missile. It's semi-autonomous, capable of multiple payload capacities from small to large. We had 2,000 of those in stock on 9/10. I think we have 5 less a couple days after. I think this would be the perfect thing to make a Shanksville crater with. And you might be wondering, well, wait a minute, how are you on greenbelt from that? And it's because of this. If you ask anyone who knew about the towers at the time, they will tell you it was one of the worst buildings ever made from the natural light. The building itself had an outer casing of aluminum, and it was all connected together in an outer shell. It had an outer exoskeleton, not an inner, an outer one. In fact, the windows were super small and super pushed back because of it. It was awful. No one liked that building. And then you start to look into Masonic ritual. And probably my most famous article I've ever written was the Satanic Ritual of 9/11. And I lay out for you the schematic here. A Masonic ritual is a circle. It always begins in a circle. And the island of Manhattan is encircled by water. There's a circle of water around it. The magician calls what's inside the circle his carpet. And typically in Masonic magistry, the checkerboard is the carpet. A black and white checkerboard is the carpet. This grid is a holodeck. It's a cosmic plasmatic holodeck that he uses to cast a spell. And so the island of Manhattan, with its grid of streets, they're all squares, is that Masonic checkerboard. And the water surrounding Manhattan is literally the ritual circle. And the man who owns that property, the man that consecrated that property, the man who built that property is Rockefeller, the Rockefeller family. And that same Rockefeller family, through things like Blackstone, BlackRock Group, Black Cube, have kept and maintained this property. And typically, I think are considered the largest owners of the private bank in the world, of like all the equity in that. And they're the ones that own the Rockefeller Center, Prometheus Plaza. There's Prometheus there. He's got the mask on. Additionally to that, 555 Fifth Avenue, the building that Jared Kushner bought, the 666 Fifth Avenue, excuse me. that building itself was only sold to Kushner by Rockefeller. And that Kushner actually took an $800 million loss on that building. Which, of course, you could understand would be an excellent way of having a payoff. And right now, you're still in Red Belt. Right now, you're still like, those evil bastards. Those evil, evil bastards. And I'm not asking you to go on, because that Red Belt is cool. It looks good on you. You're going to get a lot of attention. You're going to get a lot of live streamers. You just push that. You need to go out right now and tell everyone how this is the season of death and everyone's going to be on fire. And you know what? I think a lot of people are on fire. I think it is happening. And I think that every time it happens, it's because we've abandoned, we've abandoned California. Californians abandoned their government a long time ago. The virtue set in. It's set in. People were too concerned about what they might look like, how they might feel, what someone might say about them if they spoke up. You're watching the rotting of cavities right now. You're watching it happen. It's beautiful, beautiful, pearly white. Corroded from the inside. Babylon ate their roots away. And they did it with blind empathy. They just sucked all the empathy out of the roots. They assigned a seating chart to equality. They introduced the word equality. And they spent the entire focus of the holly, the wood of the holly, selling your imagination, your worship, to the highest bidder, and that's Babylon. That's the Babylon. And sure, the government's the same, and the corporation's the same, all of it's the same. But when you're ready for Greenbelt, you're ready to find more power. And the only way you're going to find more power is to realize that all the victimhood that is around you is lost power. It's lost electricity, massively lost. Massively lost. And then you look back at this building. I think right now is a good time for everyone to leave who's red belt, orange belt, yellow belt. You're not going to like this. You're not. You're probably looking for a 9/11 show. I bet Richie from Boston has one. I bet you Amazing Polly has one. I bet you someone out there is selling you this 19th, holy shit. Oh, and that's cool, man. Go for it. Go for it. This is a good time to leave, because we're talking Greenbelt shit here. I want you to imagine that you are an elite badass, and that because you didn't have all the dissonance, or because of, just like there's epigenetic pain in your family, I want you to picture that there could be epigenetic wisdom. And that you were so woke-ass fucking woke that your child was raised in a different vibration entirely. And that your child was encouraged to find this second attention early on. And that child was so good at it that he had a child, and his child had that second attention just built in. And then that child had another child, and that child had another child. And every time that child became more embedded in their adrenals, embedded in their pelvis, embedded in their spine was freaking aligned. And with all the right energy workers, with all the right education, with all the right compassion, a greenhouse was made, and certain humans were brought up in that greenhouse. And these are called the Supermen. Man, you're going to freak out now. Holy shit. You're like, Dad, didn't Hitler say that? Yeah, I know. That's why this is Greenbelt territory. That's why I told the Red Belts to get the fuck out, because this is freaky shit, man. Thus Spake Zarathustra is a book all of you need to read. The reason why you need to read it is not because I want us to genetically create a superhuman. No. It's because if you look at what happened in World War II, you saw the zeitgeist see the rise of man, and the venomous fangs come out and strike it down. It struck it down. It did not like the essence, the idea of fatherland. It did not like the essence of the actualized self. And I know it's freaky, I know it's scary, but this is Greenbelt territory. We go into the cave at Dagobah. We go to Dagobah. We go back. We go back, and we're like, I'm going to go in that cave, and you're going to go in alone. Now, you are this elite, epigenetically wise family. And by the way, I'm not talking about Rockefeller. Rockefeller's an instrument for the hidden hand. We'll get to that. You are this elite epigenetic family. And you have tried in the Russian aristocracy, in the German apolitical movements, in the French Revolution, you were trying something else. While the city of London was forming, you were fighting for independence in Scotland. That there's an epigenetic force at play here. And this epigenetic force is you right now, because I want you to picture what you do right now. I want you to picture that you see everything. You know exactly what the world has. You know its jungles. You know its stresses. You know its dangers. You know it's full of psychopaths. And you've had meetings. You guys will go to your retreat. Just like there's Jekyll Island, there's also somewhere in Belize. And you're going there and you're hanging out with other people that are epigenetically wise, and you're like, can we kill all the pedophiles? And you guys are seriously talking about it. You're like, yeah, we could eugenically breed them out or something. And you notice as you follow that thought experiment that doesn't work. That it's actually impossible to kill those evil psychopaths, pedophiles, anyone that you would deem evil. You start to realize that wouldn't work because you're looking at the matrix of our life itself. And you're seeing that you cannot thread out good and bad from people. In fact, if you look deeper, because of how wise you are, you start to understand that God is fascinating. And that the truth is fascinating. And that this entire place is almost like a dojo earth. It's almost like a place where this good and evil is a necessary function of who and what we are. And you are this elite and you see this and you realize you cannot kill all the psychopaths. You can't. In fact, for you to do so, you would become people's tender. Right? People who tend chickens are chicken tenders. People who tend humans are human tenders. You would become their tender. And you, as a sovereign person, you don't like the vibe of slavery. You don't like master. You don't like slave. You don't like either one of it. What you'd like to see is a better world. It just would be nice. And because you're so grounded, it's not even like you're like, oh, I have to have a better world. We have to save the better world. They're not in red belt territory. They're in a different territory. They're pruning their life around them. And what they prune is what they feel they have influence over. And what they have influence over is much more than you or I do right now. And so they go in with shears. They go in and they pluck. They go in and they change things. And they can't kill the bad guys. They can't kill the baddies and save the goodies. They're not stupid. They're not living on that retarded level of red belt, yellow belt. Good, evil, my afraid fire. They're not there. They're at a different spot. They look at humanity itself, as a vital crop. And they don't bitch at it when it's wilting. They don't overpraise it when it's shining. They just value it doing its thing naturally. And if they pull that corn and it's got some kernels that are different colors, they're like, oh, that's beautiful. Look at the personality on this. It's a different way of looking at it because they don't have that germ theory, guys. They don't have that Zeitgeistian germ theory that everything's broken. That there's evil inside, it's broken, and it's only evil because we rated everything. We rated every molecule we could find in here as good or evil. We have to tear down that statue because inside there are molecules inside that bronze that are racist. Those molecules are racist. And if we tear it down and piss on it and try and kick it, it will fix it. We're not naive retards. These people aren't. You aren't. You've reached this epigenetic wisdom where you see and you're starting to inject things. And you notice that if you want to treat an oscillation of fear, you inject an oscillation of fear. You entrain someone. You are running a marathon. You're running a half marathon. And you are a pacer. And as a pacer, you're so good at running half marathons that you're not even competing. You're just there to be a pacer, which means that your job is to set a pace. That's it. You're just there to see if you can hold your pace. Because to you, it's not even about winning. You're like, can I actually nail exactly the pace I want? To you, that's interesting. Whatever, but it is. You're entraining runners around you. You're saying, I'm 7 minute mile. You've got the 7 on your shirt. Everyone knows. If I follow that guy, I'm on 7 minute miles. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. And someone is only attracted to that 7 minute mile if it was someone that they could keep up with. If it was someone that has the potential. It's vibrating like them, just a little bit faster. Or just a little bit slower. I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to get blown out. It's the same kind of principle. We entrain each other. We do. Hey, honey, you seem a little bit upset. I'm not upset. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, I just thought maybe a little bit upset. I'm not upset. Are you dare me? It's like, yeah, I think you're a little bit upset. And she's like, maybe I am. He reached her by getting a little bit upset too. He came up to her oscillation, but was still a little bit shorter. And she responded. She entrained to him. She found his pace and matched it. And you can do this to everyone around you. You do it to everyone around you. Stop pretending you don't. Don't fall in this bullshit trap where you're like, they're all wizards. Meanwhile, I'm going to entrain the fuck out of you. Don't fall for that shit. You do this every day. You do it for good. You do it for bad. I want to bring a certain oscillation that gives you confidence, sovereignty, and power, which means I have to tear through your victimhood. I have to rape it on camera. And so people get mad at me because they're like, you don't believe in chemtrails. You don't believe in this. And the whole time I'm like, I told you to look at the psychological damage of believing in chemtrails. I did not say chemtrails were not real. I told you to look at the psychological damage of chemtrails. And I did that by saying, let's pretend that chemtrails mean nothing. Let's say for right now, for an hour, that all the things that you think chemtrails do, they don't do. That all you have is a visual representation of chemtrails. Can you see how the symptoms are still there, that you still feel that way, that you still feel like a fucking victim? And half of you were like, I'm out of this dojo, fuck that guy. And it's cool. This is green belt shit. It's green belt shit. And you can leave this dojo and still feel like a victim. I'm not here to stop you. It doesn't mean I failed. It means that while you're in here, in fucking yoga class, in spin class, in sparring class, whatever the fuck you want to call this thing. While you're here, you're not going to be a bitch. You're not going to get to wear victimhood. And that's why people come to this thing. And that's why I want you to understand that a magician, a Masonic magician, is going to want his magic to come from the deepest parts of his power, his pelvis, his root. And in order for him to come from the deepest part of who he is, every single organ would have to be aligned. His adrenal system, his endocrine system, his empathy center, his mammalian brain, his reptilian brain, his occipital lobe. His assemblage would have to be dead center in the king's chamber, and he would have to feel all of the emotions of everything that he's ever done to anyone in his past. His field, in order for him to be a powerful magician, would need to be clear. Clear. You cannot do this kind of magic dirty. You can't. And we are pretending that there are people that are born to be evil, that they're born to be decrepit, that they wake up and they purposely shit themselves because that's how evil they are, yet somehow they control the entire world. And they eat cardboard for breakfast sometimes, or rocks, because they're truly that evil. They believe in evil that much. And instead of cutting their hair, they literally cut pieces of their ear off. And they're the ones that are here to kill us. And that's yellow red belt cowardice. And I shouldn't even call it cowardice, actually. Shame on me, because I'm not showing the compassion it takes. It's just that I know the kickback. I know what's expected on September 11th. I know what's expected. And the 19th nervous breakdown is gone. There's no more reason to be nervous about this, because what all you saw was a spell of clarity. And I'm here to tell you the reason why these towers were hollow, the reason why they were built with a hollow center is because they were tuning forks. And they set a frequency, and that frequency was fear, was terror. They took the words 911, which used to mean safety, and they turned it into fear. And you'd think if that was all, you could leave. You'd be red belts. You could go home and go, look what a red belt, they'd be great. But you can't. You can't do that because there's more data.
Manhattan Suicide Helpline, can I help you, please?
Yeah, I don't want to go on living no more. I'm down here in Manhattan and I had enough. I think it's time to just end it. And I just wanted to say goodbye to somebody.
Sir, can I have your name, please?
Name? Building 7. My friends call me Building 7.
Sir, there's so many reasons to live. What's got you so down?
It's the lies. I can't handle the lies no more. All I see around me down here is corruption. I can't take it anymore.
Well, sir, think about your family. Someone out there would certainly miss you, would they not?
Family? No one has family down here. I got a kid. Yeah, I got a kid. He's in New Jersey. He's a small kid. He's one of those utility buildings. He keeps the phone company dry. All their wires in there. Yeah. He ain't got no windows. He's nice and simple. He's got one door. You go in, you go out the same door. He's got a good roof on his head, that kid. Yeah. I'll miss him. But he don't want nothing to do with his old man.
Well, sir, if you were to die now, you need to think about the storyline, the narrative here. No one's just gonna believe that a building just killed itself. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know. I want my death to be an homage to truth. When people think about Building 7, I want them to think, now there's a guy who wouldn't stand for lies no more. Goodbye, cruel world. Goodbye.
Sir, please don't go.
Then there's Building 7. Then, right? They showed you that and stop pretending, oh, James, no, they censored. No, they didn't censor. They broadcasted that. In fact, right now, everyone who believes that they're censoring the truth from you, I dare you right now to do a Google search for Shanksville crater, and all you will see is conspiracy sites. All you will see is conspiracy sites telling you there's no fucking way this was a plane. And Building 7 was a gift. It was a sacrifice. It was a tower sacrifice, and they gave it to you. It was a tower. The tower. The tower. It's a sacrifice. See, look, they sacrificed it in front of you. Why? So you would see. They wanted you to see. And they knew if they could scare you enough, you'd wake up and you'd start to look around. And the entire time, the Whore of Babylon's like, let's do Zionist war. And every fucking Zionist out there, even the red belts, are like, fine. That sounds good. Every 1.3 years. Let's do it. Let's do it. And the exact same machine was still taking place before as after. Some of you are going to pretend, well, no, James, they were... Clearly, it was the people that did 9/11 because they're the ones that started all the war on terror. And no, you're missing it. We were already doing that. Guys, we were already doing that for a long time. And I'm just here to tell you, if I had a gang, if me, Nate, Rachel, Kieran, all of them, if all of us in the dojo, like if we struck it rich and we had like all this money, we were like on airships all the time, I'd be bringing up these ideas. I'd be like going, guys, how about we like let go? Let's distribute 1 million fortune cookies that say "Shut your whore mouth, Babylon." Let's do that. Let's do that. And then people are like, yeah. It's I would do that. You would do that. But you can't even think that way because you think anyone that might be elite has to be bad. And you think that because the elite that are good are not rescuing you. Because they don't believe in slavery. You do. They don't believe in victimhood. You do. They see that you're living in a world that's not really something that they want to participate in. And they don't owe you anything. In fact, they wish you'd stop. They look at you like this. And they might see a few of you, right? They'll see a few of you in the water where you're not in pee yet. But these are eagles. You're seagull. You're not yet ready to meet those guys. Those elite, the ones in airships. You're getting there. You are fucking getting there. You are. And your green belt is getting there. But you're not quite there yet. You have more work to do. We both do. We both have more work to do. It's that time in the show. It's that time in the show where we have an airing of grievance. I'd like you all to know that this graphic was brought to you by Mère de Malfay, and it made me realize that the squirrel itself probably needs to be called Grievance. And that's the bad news I had for Prometheus Peanut, because I thought Prometheus was a wonderful name for a squirrel, but seriously, it would seem to me that we should call this squirrel Grievance. In fact, right now, there are no peanuts, so he could have a grievance. So I'd like to ask you all who has a grievance, please. Please, you all. We have 6 downvotes today. Certainly some of you has a grievance for me. Certainly someone here has a grievance. Until we get that grievance, I'd like to wish a special birthday shout out to Brent Shineman. He's shining for me though. Really glad you're born, my friend. Welcome to a new decade in your life. Glad to have you in my tribe. Yes, dirigibles. You're right, Unabomber Bearer. Alright, no grievances. That's fine. Forbearance. James has a unique way of making his point. He should be a writer. Oh yeah. He is a writer. It did. 9/11 opened a fear stargate in the collective consciousness. It opened a nervous stargate, not a fear stargate. It opened a nervous stargate, not a fear stargate. It opened a nervous stargate, is what it did. Not a fear stargate. It's true. It's true. Because if you would have had enough compassion, if you would have understood that news lies to you all the time anyway, if you would have already understood, if you would have already known this is how it works, then you would not have believed that story to begin with. You would have been like, okay, anything that gets that much attention where literally every single person is talking about it is clearly has some propaganda behind it. You would have already seen that. You would have already had the compassion for that. I know it sounds insane, but I'm telling you, the people that put 9/11 on want you to wake up. And they gave you Building 7. And whoever wants you to wake up is a Mason, a Freemason. They're a Freemason. And they use high court magic to do that. And high court magic involves having troughs. A white trough, a yellow trough, a red trough, and a green trough. And those troughs lead you up a staircase, a Masonic staircase. And that's... Someone in an airship loves you. Someone in an airship sees how hard you're trying and wants you to know they're pulling for you. Because they are. In 2020, the 19th vibration of those tuning forks vibrating inside the Masonic circle, inside the carpet, which is hollow, by the way. Someone in chat saying, it's not hollow in this. Yes, it is. Look it up. It's hollow. Stop telling people it's not. And that there is a resonance that was meant to last for 19 years until 2020. And the corona, the apocalypse, IPEC GOAT 2, the Olympic ceremony, COVID-19, all of these are excuses for energetic addictions that we have. One of which is the secretion, remember we talked about secretions, secretion of shame. And I'm here to tell you that just like there's a white trough, a red trough, a yellow trough, and a green trough, there is a shame trough. These people have found a way to allow for people to secrete shame in public the fastest, quickest way they can because of the rapture. I'm telling you, there is a self-running rapture happening right now. I do not know. I think it has something to do with the sun. I think it has to do with all the sunspots going away. I know it sounds nuts. I know it does. But it's a self-moving rapture. It's not about where innocent people are being ripped and torn, one's taken away. It's not that. It's all consent-based. It's happening right now in real time. You're seeing it right now in real time. I'm losing people to Babylon that I love every day. Women are becoming men. Men are becoming women. Fear is creating a shellac around the people that you care about right now. And it's them. They want this to happen. The masks, they want to secrete. All of this is necessary, and you have to show it compassion. You can't let it win, though, because it's coming for you. And Babylon never belonged to you. And that's what the people that are in the airships are expecting you to know. That's your prerequisite. Just like I threw everyone out of here that wasn't a greenbelt. They too would say, dude, if you're going to play this victimhood, if you're going to think you can just keep Babylon the way it is, you're not meant for airships, man. You're not. You're not. I want you to look at this technology they have where they've already put it into a pig. And I want you to consider how amazing it would be if you had that pig technology inside your head. And that's where the yellow belts and the red belts and the white belts are going to go. There's a rapture, guys. A rapture. And I want to make it to Ajna. Right now, maybe I'm on my throat chakra, the blue one, because I'm doing so much talking. But I'm going this way. Nothing wrong with staying where you are. It's a beautiful world. There's troughs for everybody because I believe in rapture. In aperture, I mean. It's these masks. These masks are going to come up again. I'm going to do a whole show on that because I want to show you something else and how this stuff works. Because right now there's a massive fight. They're trying to polarize it. I'm not getting into it now because it'll take too long. All these signs are telling you Babylon's not yours. And it's time to rise, my friends. It's time to rise. You don't have to. That's what's so beautiful about it. You don't have to. But the lion, the witch, and the wardrobe, it ain't going nowhere. There are, 250 trillion viruses in your body? They've only declared a war on one. They've got 249 trillion, 999 billion, 999,999 more. They can just, in October, coronavirus is cool, but now we're going after the Hente, the Chukawaka, the Pulingo virus, right? They can just keep going and going and going and going. They can name them after ice cream. They can, whatever it takes. They're coming for you as long as you stay in Babylon. Could not be easier than that. It could not be easier than that. So change the vibration. Change the vibration. 9/11. It was a call for you to wake up, my friend. Wake up. There's so much to see and do. All these things are waiting for you. The airships, the adventure, the intrigue, the suspense is all there waiting. And all you have to do is open your eyes. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Anyway, transmute this shit. Please. Do it. Do it. 9/11 woke you up more than it did. I don't think anyone was in the towers. I don't think anyone was in there. I don't think so. I definitely think people died there. I think anytime, for some reason, Freemasons seem to think that cops and firefighters and soldiers have already given their lives. No one's told me that. I'm just telling you that seems to be part of this code. That those who agree to sacrifice their lives for the greater good will have their lives sacrificed for the greater good by people that have been put in charge with your consent to do the great. It's a wicked way. You don't have to consent. When I told you, let's have compassion for these green belts so we can figure out how this science works, not once are we consenting. I'm not consenting to that. Rockefeller was in his office on the day of 9/11. It was a few blocks away. He had a beautiful view of the whole thing. The Statue of Liberty was closed that day. It stayed closed for weeks after that. I would think that someone was in the Statue of Liberty in the torch when that happened. I just want to throw that out. I personally think someone would want to be there. I think there'd be reasons for that. There'd be a lot of prana in there because the Statue of Liberty was holding that light up in between those two towers. It's the symbolism. The Ben Franklin stuff, the world of walking philosopher kings. I can't think of another way how you could perform surgery on a jungle without stripping it all and deciding what's good and what's bad. Instead, what they've done is they've set up mirrors. They've set up really obvious blueprints of how the jaguars and the panthers work. And they've shown you those. They've put them on plaques. They've translated them into so many languages, and they're all right there waiting for you. But you're not going to see them on red belt. You're not going to see them on yellow belt. You're going to see them on green belt because now you have the compassion to look deeper. Let the resonance of 9/11 help you look deeper. Find power in this day. Find power in this day. Picture what it's like on the airship. Picture what it's like when you and I are having this conversation. When we're saying, wouldn't it be great if people were less victimish? And the whole time we had this magnanimous approach to it. It's like, look, we want to give them a choice. It's not like we want to force them to be that way. But what if we provided this nutrient? What if we provided this shade tree? What if we provided this other thing to keep the slugs away? Whatever, right? It's only with compassion can you see that. It's a big day for that. It's a big day for that. You could transmute this whole day. You could help me right now. Put a thumper, boom, right in the ground. And you and me can tell Babylon to shut her whore mouth, man. It can happen. Really want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Really, really, really glad you're here. Thanks for the watching. Thanks for the numbers. The numbers are a little bit up, which is great. Makes me feel good. I love it when you guys are watching. I can feel it. Thank you, Steve Crockett. Thanks for listening. Silver, I wish I had your link. I don't know if Silver's here. Holy cow. That dude made an amazing video. I can't wait to see that. Hey, James, hope all well. Hope rumor I hear you're attending that evil satanic gathering called Flatoberfest is not true, or you will move up on your next list. Peace. Speak truth. I am so excited about going to Flatoberfest and speaking. In fact, we are inviting everyone to join us because I think maybe we can have a campfire, maybe we can work out something there. So if anyone thinks that that's another scary bad thing, please keep thinking that. It will make our event that much better. I would love that electricity. If you guys need to feel that's an evil thing, or if you want to think we're doing Rhinebeck 2, we even could be doing Rhinebeck 2, come to Flatoberfest. Come, watch what we're talking about. I can't wait to show you this presentation on the Eye of Ra. I can't wait to show you that. It's great. It's time to, well then, you're next. Exactly. See how it's time to wake up is all red-faced? That's perfect. That's perfect. That's good. That's electricity. That's electricity right there. Yeah, imagine being scared of another man. Exactly, Justin. Exactly. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate you guys being here. Have a great weekend. There's a dojo today. It's hosted by Brent Shineman. I'm going to call him Shineman. It's hosted by Brent. Not only is it birthday, he's hosting today. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about 9/11. We're going to go into this. If you're not a member of the dojo, you can join right now. You can either be Patreon, $19 a month. It supports the show, and you get access to all these free recordings. We're on recording number 14 right now. You can participate in it. You can ask questions. You can give witness. All that stuff right now at 12:30. Right now, you could join. So at 12:30, you could come watch us. You could check it out. It's been amazing. The things that are coming out of there, it's been amazing. And I'm really looking forward to how Brent does his job moderating today. So thanks for being here all. Have a great weekend. And let's transmute this stuff. Wait, one more shot of him. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him. See, sometimes it's better that I don't have peanuts. It's okay.
just need to calm down.